Happy to report that we substantially completed the Grove Street project and reopened it to traffic. While it might look like just a pretty new street project, there's actually 4 or 5 projects combined into one project here that I'd like to give you a little summary about. In the next slide, you can see that this is the project area here from Grove, on Grove, from Main Street to Carpenter. It's right on the edge of the downtown area.
So your canopy.
The next slide shows the condition of the street before we started this project. This was an old brick street that had been overlaid with asphalt at some point in time. Because of its closeness to downtown, it gets a fair amount of traffic, as well as a good volume of parking along this street also. This next project shows the general design of the work that we did. It shows that we kept the same street widths and parking areas and replaced the curb and gutter in the same locations as they were prior to the project. The only exception is shown here on this next slide, which is at the intersection of Carpenter and Grove, where we narrowed Carpenter Street at the intersection to help slow down traffic and reduce the crossing distance for pedestrians. This is a fairly heavily utilized crossing for pedestrians. There's a parking lot just to the west there. Residents from the west side of Carpenter and Denver Woods regularly cross here. And so we significantly narrowed the crossing distance they have here. And just for driver perception, we narrowed the lane width so that they have a tendency to slow down and notice that it's getting narrowed and slow down as they go through there. To help further reduce that speed, we also extended the pavers that you see out there on Grove through the intersection. So when you cross on Carpenter now, you feel that difference in the pavement, and that helps to further reduce the speed as they come through here. So that's the traffic calming in addition to the pavement reconstruction. In addition to reconstructing the street, we were also to incorporate some water quality enhancements. From a stormwater perspective, the downtown, our downtown, is unique in a couple of ways compared to other areas of the village. Over 90% of our downtown is impervious surface, which is concrete, asphalt, buildings, sidewalks. We really have very little green space in the downtown to absorb water and to filter water, rainwater as it comes down. This runoff drains directly into St. Joseph's Creek, which is enclosed in an 11-foot diameter storm sewer through the downtown. This discharge is just right at Carpenter, just on the west side of Carpenter, north of Grove. And the Salt Creek Watershed Group, which we're a member of, identified St. Joseph's Creek as a high priority for improving the quality of that water. To achieve this improvement in water quality and to comply with the village's NPDES permit, which is the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit that we have. Last year, we developed strategies for improving water quality in the downtown because of these challenges, all the impervious area, all the pollutants that are run off into this large pipe that goes into St. Joseph's Creek. And we included funds in the CIP not only this year, but in all of the following years to implement these strategies in the downtown. Because of the proximity of the Grove Street project, this initiative to improve water quality in the downtown, this was a great location to implement these water improvement strategies with this project. So we've got street reconstruction, we've got traffic calming, and we've got water quality now. We were able to implement 3 major best management practices, we like to call them, or strategies to improve water quality. The first one is shown on the next slide, which is the most obvious one. That's the permeable pavers you see out there. We started at the bottom of this cross-section with large open graded stone. It works its way up to a sub-base, and on top of that, finer stone, which is the bedding course that these pavers rest on, which you can see on the top. On the next slide, you'll show a photo of these pavers being installed. This was just a couple of weeks ago. This was on the west end of the project. And on the next slide, we just give a list of the benefits of this approach. Unlike traditional impervious pavement, the permeable pavers reduce runoff. They also trap impurities from the surface as they make their way through the stone. As I said before, they have a traffic calming effect, and they also have a life cycle cost savings, because unlike typical asphalt, which we will go through a maintenance cycle, they have less maintenance required of them, similar to the brick streets that we have in town. The next slide shows the two other BMPs, or best management practice for stormwater, we have incorporated in the project that are there that aren't as visible as the pavers. The first one is the diagram. I'm sorry, but if you could flip to the next slide, there it is. That's called a vortex separator that's underground in one of the storm sewers. It's a mechanical structure that captures the water, swirls it around, and separates the heavier metals and the suspended solids, and they settle down in the bottom, which we can come and clean out with our Vactor. So that helps to kind of take that water, those impurities out of the system there. If you go back to the slide before, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong order. This is a picture of a rain garden, which we are going to be planting in the spring. We have a couple areas in the project that are designated for this. We're looking to do a few more in the downtown as well, but this was an ideal location as we were building this project. So you will be seeing that type of planting going in the spring as well. The last slide shows a completed section. It's all been completed since this photo was taken, which is now open to traffic. It's not 100% complete. We are working on completing some restoration. We will be reinstalling signage for parking and traffic direction out here, as well as striping. We'll be completing restoration and planting in the rain gardens in the spring, as I said. I'd say the last benefit is to this project, in addition to the one I already talked about, is already taking effect, which is it's becoming a nice demonstration for people. We've had interest from commercial properties as well as residents who would like to install pavers like this for their driveways or for alleyways, to improve alleyways where they share access with their neighbors. So we have a number of residents who are very interested in this product and have been talking to us about what the cost would be for them to do similar projects.